Hello and welcome back to the Lapdown podcast, and welcome to the start of the catch-up break. Everybody, it is not the pre-summer break, it is not the summer break, it's not an amuse-bouche, it is the catch-up window. My name is Alex, the next voice is going to be Dan, and there's a lot to unpack from the Japanese Grand Prix, I think, Daniel.
There is, isn't there? Look, we are the Posse Pods.
We are the Posse Pod, and this
I
will
am
continue.
I'm racking my brains a little bit about what we're going to cover over the next 3 or 4 weeks, mind you. But we'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Look, the Japanese Grand Prix happened. We've got some shit to talk about. I hope you're all doing well. Please leave us a review. 5 stars is brilliant. We don't care what the text says. You can say whatever you want in the text. So just the 5 stars. That's the important bit. And maybe, do you know what? Actually, if you can put together some form of text that's quite funny, you can be abusive if you want. You can be insulting. We don't really care. And we'll read them out. 5-star reviews by AB and Dan at the start of the podcast to reward those of you that spend the time to give us a 5-star review. Because that's what honestly, we deserve 6, but the system only allows 5.
Fair. Yeah, I'll say it's fair. Would you say that the Grand Prix this weekend, or in fact the weekend as a whole, deserved 5 and or 6 stars, Daniel?
No.
No.
Yeah. We said pre-Japan that this felt like it would be closer to Australia than it was to China in terms of whatever we called it, shit clipping and battery energy recovery modes and all this other stuff. And it did exactly what we thought it was going to do. It lived up to what we thought it was going to. It was never really given a fair crack by the social media world when it comes to this side of things. After FP1, after the first lap of FP1, it felt like the decision and the mind had been made up by a few. But we got what we thought we were going to get, I think, anyway.
Yeah. I think from my side, it was maybe worse than I was hoping we were going to get through. Is it 130R through the final big sweeper? Yeah. Now, I defended, and I will continue to be as Posse Pod as possible about it. I defended through Australia and stuff that we get to the end of the really long straight, coming to the braking zone, and we get a little bit of shit clipping at the end.
Yeah,
it was too much. Too much shit clipping through what used to be quite a harrowing corner of like, how big is your dick? Are you going to keep your foot in coming around here? Yes or no? And that's sort of, all their dicks have been taken away from them, essentially. There's
a few chodes kicking about in the paddock, wasn't there?
They've fallen off. They've all fallen off because it was starting so early. And I know that some of them were dropping like 50k or something like that through the end of it. Now there is a big difference in my Posse Pod mind of, okay, they lost 25k at the end of the straight in Australia. It's into a hard braking zone at that point. Anyway, 50k, quite a lot of k to be dropping out of that. And it, again, I know it's the sound thing and it's not as bad from the offboard, but they are spooling down early doors around there, and that was less good.
I don't understand the technology, but I think I'm starting to gather why these things happen. I just don't think that in the pinnacle of the sport that we're in, this should be a topic of conversation.
So consistently.
I think that's probably why and where people are getting so cheesed off about it. I don't necessarily think anybody's against the push to pass or the battery deployment and the hybrid era. And I don't think anybody's really that bothered about that. I mean, so many of the road cars now that people will own and drive, they won't be Formula One cars, obviously, but they will be some form of FEVs, won't they? Plug-in hybrid jobbies. And that's okay, and that's fine. It's just the fact that it just doesn't really work at the moment. There's still a chance to fix it, but based on what we've seen so far, it doesn't feel compatible with what we want as a top-end, elite-level Formula One Grand Prix car.
Yeah, and I think I prefer the overtake mode that we've got now to DRS. I think if we took shit clipping out of it, I actually think the current system of putting it in the driver's hands, when would you like to use this thing, now or not or whatever, I think is better. Active aero, I can't even say I've noticed. I don't know if that's bad. I don't know if other people... I'm just kind of used to the wings almost being open or not open. Like it's not become an event anymore for that wing to be opening and closing. So I've almost sort of ignored it and just look at the middle of the car now. But it's just... Yeah, I'm not going to go all in yet on it. Again, because we are remaining the Posse Pod and we are 3 into the regs. I do think there is increasingly more call for massaging, I think, that needs to go on. And even like on the push to pass and stuff, where the drivers are now quite openly calling it mushroom mode, which I love. That's tremendous that they are all on board with mushroom mode. And like Oscar Piastri in the cool down room being like, I see what you mean now about the mushroom. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's a little bit memey because they branded it a Mario Kart thing, but the idea that there is this old school NFS, nitrous mode, actually kind of cool. That there's a literal boost button that makes the car go really fucking quick. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want that combined with I've run out of battery, please. So now my car's going backwards.
Yeah. And of course, if you give an opportunity to a bunch of 21 to 26-year-old, highly influential people with a big social media following, of course they're going to come up with some form of funny tagline and branding for it, and they're not going to give it the full Latin and biological name for whatever the hell this thing is actually called. But yeah, I don't mind it. I like it. It's good. What we could do, just as a thought, is when we speak about these things, we could kind of cut away from the controversial bit at the point that it becomes controversial and kind of replace it with the same thing but have it slightly different. And I don't think anybody would notice.
No, people definitely wouldn't get incredibly upset about that on the internet. I mean, maybe we could do it on like a quali lap or something, just around like around 130R or something like that. We could maybe cut away off the onboard.
Best not to do it on the main event.
That was not great, that decision. Well, no, actually, I will change that. For those of you that don't know what we're jokingly alluding to here, Kimi Antonelli's pole onboard lap on the official F1 YouTube channel, which is always an onboard lap, isn't it? It's ride onboard for the pole lap. I don't think they necessarily actually call out onboard on it, but it's like, let's go on Kimi Antonelli's pole lap, and it's usually onboard. And it got around 130R, and it cuts to an offboard shot for the remainder of the lap, which happened to coincide with when the shit clipping started. And a lot of people were like, okay, well, this is more propaganda and whatever. Now, again, like some of the comment deleting and stuff like that, I think there is a mitigating circumstance that I am willing to let FOM, FIA, whoever off, because the telemetry also drops out at the same time. So I do think it was a genuine technical something, which we seem to be getting a lot of. But again, it's new regs and whatever, so whatever. But his telemetry does die in the same spot. So the car stops sending info at that point, which is why they don't have the onboard for that bit. Not ideal if you're Formula One. Do the whole thing offboard. If you don't have the whole thing on board, do the whole thing offboard. It just, you're Streisanding it, and you're asking for trouble, I think, with the current state of the pitchfork sales across the world.
It's a terrible coincidence.
Yes.
I think is the best way to describe it.
I think we are agreed. It is actually a coincidence. We are not, all the tinfoil business we do.
This is, so far, this is a one of one.
Yes.
So I think the media side of it have enough credit in the bank to have a one of one and go, that is a rotten bit of luck. Like a terrible coincidence that has happened. And I'll pay it this time. It's if and when it starts kind of recurring, or if, as you say, all of a sudden these pole apps that were never explicitly onboard exclusive pole apps suddenly vanish from the ether, and they all become, as you say, well, it would have been better just to have done the static kind of trackside cameras and shown it that way around. And then I think if it becomes a continual thing, then there's something that becomes a little bit like, actually, you're trying to hide stuff from us, which, if you were a TV director, is exactly what you would be trying to do, because you wouldn't be trying to highlight the fact that the product you're trying to make look exciting isn't actually as good and exciting as what maybe you think people might think it should be. And it makes you then circle all the way back to Australia, and you kind of go, why didn't you have this conversation over the winter break and say, these are the problems that we're going to have. TV directors, it's your job, and editors, video editors, to put together the packages so that we kind of propaganda cover it up. It's not right, but whilst you have the keys to the castle and you can press your own buttons and you essentially control your own outlet, you have the absolute power to be able to do that. And what you've done essentially is, yes, fine, this was a terrible coincidence, but you've created a shit show because you didn't get your stuff in order in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts, and what they're really struggling with, and what I'm starting to struggle with a little bit. I mean, F1 socials is not always the most fun place to exist anyway, because the comments are generally extreme in their nature. Everyone has already written off seemingly the sport forever at this point. That
Well, they'll change the regs next week, so it'll be fine.
But then people will moan that they changed the regs. People just are in this default position of moaning for the sake of moaning, and they're getting themselves prepped to moan. I get it. We're being the Posse Pod, and we're trying to be a counter for that. But can we all just have, we've got 5 weeks off. Can we all just have 5 weeks off, please, of moaning? And
but
then
that's
we'll
not
maybe
good,
reset
is it?
in Miami. But then it's Miami, and people moan about Miami. So it's just any opportunity people have got to have an opinion, it's going to be a moan, isn't it?
5 weeks off is shit as well.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Can't be helped. Well, I mean, it could have been, because they didn't actually have to start cocking around out there in the first place. But with these circumstances, it can't be helped. So, I mean, yeah. I'm quite fascinated to know what these fellas and blokes and women and girls that work for these companies are actually going to get up to over the next 5 weeks, because this is a whole load of annual leave that they potentially didn't think they were going to get, or simulate a time that they didn't think they were going to get. And I guess all of the teams are going to have slightly different / kind of more intense 5 week, what did you call them? Development recovery.
Yeah, catch-up
strategic breaks, catch-up windows, than others. So I am genuinely quite fascinated. We won't know anything about what they've been up to, but I am fascinated to kind of try and piece it together when we do see the cars back out on track in Miami in about 8 million years' time. Yeah,
and there are some teams that really need this catch-up window.
Oh, God, yeah.
Red Bull, mainly. Williams, mainly. I've written off Aston. I don't really care about Cadillac in the nicest possible way. Like they can just... As far as I'm concerned, they can trundle about doing whatever they fancy, as long as we're building forward something, and I think they are. So I think actually Cadillac are showing themselves remarkably well so far. I mean, they're not last in the constructors, so that's quite something.
And that's impressive, because alphabetically they would be behind Aston Martin. So they've actually been able to outfinish Aston Martin at some point to be able to take a 10th place, which is brilliant.
No points. It's 0-0, but I think they've just finished higher.
Slightly less terrible than Aston Martin.
Yes. Just to finish off, I suppose, on the actual racing before we get into a couple of the specific incidents from Japan to go within. Did the Japanese Grand Prix feel really random to you? Like, the racing almost didn't feel like a cohesive, 55 or whatever laps it was. And the overtaking didn't... It almost felt like it was my turn to overtake now, or it wasn't my turn to overtake. It didn't. China, the battles felt quite organic, and even the times where it was a bit of, position swapping, I understood it. It made sense. You could see why that had happened. Japan, it felt a lot more random. It did feel like someone was using a boost and someone wasn't using a boost or whatever, and it wasn't cohesive to me for some reason. But I don't know if that was just my watch on it.
Yeah, I think, we'll talk about the reason as to why the safety car came out, but I feel like that kind of threw a little bit of a spanner in the pack, didn't it? And allowed Pierre Gasly in particular to kind of get into the mix of maybe a place that possibly weren't expecting to see them. But it also kind of feels, particularly in this Japanese Grand Prix, that once you get into an area, i.e. an area kind of within the cars, it's quite hard to get in or out of that area again. And there was one you mentioned about the overtake. I think it was Lando on Hamilton. Obviously, I can call him Lando because we're first name terms on the Posse Pod. Norris on Hamilton, Mr. Norris on Mr. Sir Hamilton. Christ, I'll get this right in a minute. And it was like nowhere. absolutely nowhere, couldn't get near him. All of a sudden, presses the little mushroom mode thing, goes flying past him, and then Hamilton goes, huh, oh well, and then does the same thing and then clears off back up the road again. And you kind of go, that was just odd. There was no real kind of context to it, and it never really felt like the move was ever going to work, because the second that you see a car overtake another car with such like venom and such vigor, you kind of know that they're a bit bollocks for the rest of the tour then, because you know that they've got no battery left, and the differential between all the battery and none of the battery is so huge. It then makes it so obvious to know, well, that car's got an absolute shit ton of battery left. It's just going to drive straight past it at the next possible opportunity. So, yeah, bit odd. And we've had 3 very different Grand Prix, I think, when it's come to this stuff. So it is going to be quite difficult, and particularly with this 5-week break, it's going to be even more difficult to try and gauge an understanding. It feels like we're going to go into round 4, 5, and 6, essentially kind of with the same 1, 2, and 3 anticipation as what we've just had. Because we're none the wiser really as to how these cars operate and battle, and what, on top of that, whether these cars are going to be the same cars by the time we see them again in 5 weeks' time.
Yeah, and I think McLaren seemingly have now turned up as well. I mean, I know it helps that, as Oscar said, that they actually started a Grand Prix this time, which funny what they can do.
Lane's handy.
But when Oscar was in front, if we take the safety car out of it and we just run that race as scheduled, you with your infinite wisdom and your official thinking partner hat on, are you seeing an Oscar Piastri P1 there, or do you think he would have eventually been reeled in? Because he had some Mercedes chasing him quite aggressively for a while that couldn't... I mean, George Russell couldn't really actually make a scratch on him. I know George didn't have the greatest setup this week by all accounts. They made some choices there. But it didn't feel like anyone was really closing. And then the safety car happened, and then all of a sudden, Kimi Antonelli won by nearly 14 seconds. Like, he pulled that gap out of nowhere, and it's not a small gap that he pulled out. It seemed a bit odd.
Yeah. I don't understand why, but it does feel as though once you get in the lead, it feels like it's quite easy to maintain that position.
Yeah.
But I haven't really been able to figure out why. It's not kind of dirty air, double blown diffusers and battery pack deployment and stuff like that. Maybe it is the deployment that makes it easy. Maybe the information is so obvious that you can essentially just match and mirror what the car is doing behind you. That you kind of go, well, Oscar's deploying it here, so I'll just deploy it in the same place and just manage the battle that way round, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not Adrian Newey, so I can't see air like that man can. But it feels
I'm less convinced he can at the moment.
Well,
but
yeah, it feels to me like there's maybe less dirty, like considerably less dirty air this year. It feels like I am seeing cars stay in that fight a lot longer. It used to be, I mean, if we go back even before ground effect, you would have like a 3-lap window, and if you didn't get the move done in that 3 laps, you were dropping back 3 seconds, and then you'd have another go at a few laps time. And then ground effect, they sort of followed a bit closer. You maybe didn't have too many chances at the move, but you didn't have to play that yo-yo game of dropping back and having a charge again, dropping back and having a charge. It feels like, I mean, we are 3 races in. It feels like there's a little bit more consistency to, George Russell has been 0.9 of a second behind me for 8 laps. And his tyres are not completely gone, and he is continuing to lurk. And I know the dirty air got worse through the last set of regs as they get better at essentially causing dirty air. But I feel like there's not a huge amount of dirty air chat anymore, mainly because there's a lot of loud chat about other things. But it feels like dirty air has kind of gone away.
Just you wait.
Yeah.
Just you wait until they figure out shit clipping. Then we'll be back onto dirty air. See, dirty air makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Because you associate dirty with, well, not all the time, but you associate dirty with quite often being a bad negative thing. And that kind of complements it. Whereas we go back into the super doesn't make sense.
No,
does not make sense. Get your branding right. What were the specifics that you wanted to chat through?
Can we talk about how Pierre Gasly is absolutely crushing it this year and no one seems to be giving him the credit he deserves? Because wee Pierre.
Pierre Gasly. Yeah, he's doing very well. Don't know how. Not quite sure what Briatore's done to the Alpine or Alpine, depending on how you pronounce it. But he's, eighth in the drivers with 15 points.
Yeah.
In comparison,
Alpine are fifth.
Yeah. And I mean, in comparison to his teammate, because that apparently head-to-head's important, I mean, he's outscoring Colapinto by 14 points. Colapinto is 16th in comparison to Gasly's 8th. Like, Gasly is considerably more experienced.
Yeah.
And probably a much more accomplished Formula One driver at this very moment in time. But to be there, 3 points ahead of Max Verstappen is...
on merit as well.
It's quite fascinating. It's a fascinating... It's a scratch at the back of the brain that I'm not quite sure I can quite reach around an itch yet.
No, who had Haas 4th and Alpine 5th on their F1 2026 bingo card after the first 3 rounds?
Certainly not me.
Would have made a lot of money if you'd have found a market to take on that one, I'd imagine.
Yeah, 100% you would. It's remarkable. It is remarkable. I mean, they're both kind of fascinatingly as well. They're both being carried massively by one side of the garage as well. Because Ocon is in a similar situation to Colapinto. He has 1 point.
Yeah.
And Behrman, who we'll talk about in a minute, he's 7th with 17 points, Oliver Behrman.
And a big dump as well.
Big dump. Sizable dump.
Sizable 50G dump.
It's a huge disparity between the drivers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Can't figure it out. But they're doing well.
Pierre. Yeah. Well done, Pierre. Whatever well done is in French is what I'll say.
Bonne nuit.
There you go. Bonne nuit, Pierre.
Is it? Or is that good night?
Even if it is, still that for Pierre. Yeah. Should we talk about Oliver Behrman? Because I've cursed that bloke, which was pointed out. I will find who said that on the comment of the pod, which you can also comment on the pod, and we do see all those. That was Carney. Carney said, I've cursed Ollie, and I'll be honest, I'll throw my hands up. I think I have. Because that bloke was P5 in the Drivers' Championship, and then that bloke was out in Q1, and then threw himself into the wall at a disgusting, scary speed.
Yeah. Yeah, you've not helped him, have you?
No.
You've not helped him. For me, if you can remember as far back to Australia, brilliant. 19 points in the Super Picking World Championship. We'll get on to that standing. So obviously likes me more than he likes you. That was a hell of a crash, wasn't it? Like, that was just horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible. And the broadcast was kind of just pottering about doing what it needed to do, and all of a sudden the timing tower was yellow flag safety car. And all of us, I think it was Crofty, wasn't it? It was like, oh, something's happened. Cuts to a Haas sideways / backwards in at Spoon. And I think Jenson Button looks at it and goes, I'm not quite sure how he's got there.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I think once we get the confirmation that he's all right, despite kind of the hobble out of it, and they obviously cut it before the impact because that would have been nasty, you then suddenly see how it materialized. And yeah, not great. Not great at all. No. If we've been talking about branding and super clipping and new regs and difficulties and challenges and things, I mean, this is about as big of a highlighter that you could possibly get to add fuel to the fire if these new regs are a bit shit.
Yeah, it's interesting that there is seemingly now more of a response from the FIA after that, and a few people have pointed out that why does it always take a big crash for the FIA to actually do something? By all accounts, the drivers have been saying for a while that this exact kind of situation is likely to occur with the way things are, and then this situation did occur, and it's funny that those people would know what they are talking about. It's just, there's an element of concern in it for me that it wasn't driver error that's caused this on Franco's side or Ollie's side. It's almost software error in a sense that I don't like. I don't like the idea that we need to Control-Alt-Delete to stop a driver going into a wall at 50G. That's alarming. If a driver, if Ollie had just gone for a silly move there, and again, I can call him Ollie because we're obviously best mates.
Obviously.
If Behrman has just gone for a move that wasn't there, if we go Lando last year in Canada, right, the gap just wasn't there, right? There was not enough track there before the grass. Fine. Don't have a problem with that. You're almost punished by the fact that you are now in the wall and you've got a sore knee. because that was just a poor decision. I don't think Colapinto has done anything wrong whatsoever. He jinks across a little bit, but he's defending his line. It wasn't an abhorrent move. It's defending. It's racing. It's a racing incident. Straight up, it's just how racing is. But what I don't like is that Behrman is in that situation because of an extenuating circumstance that is entirely controllable but was uncontrolled. That he was, you shouldn't have a 55, kilometer an hour, whatever it is, closing speed on a car that is racing in front. It's not a cool down lap or anything like that. The two cars are racing. There shouldn't be 55k between two F1 cars.
Completely agree with you. Absolutely no debate, no argument here whatsoever. It was, again, the Formula One and the FOM, FIA, they have not come out of Japan very well, I don't think, all things considered. There's been obviously a backlash in the pen from various drivers saying that, well, we did tell you that this was a problem and this was going to be a problem. I'm pretty sure we spoke about it on the podcast before the season started, saying that if these kind of closing speeds are as bad as what they could be, then we could be into a pretty horrendous accident at some point. And in terms of the safety that we've got since the whole kind of Grosjean situation, I mean, that from Behrman is about as horrendous as it gets in the last couple of years in Formula One. It was, as you say, it was a scary crash. I think that's the big thing. It was scary. As you say, Lando to Oscar was stupid, clumsy, a bit dumb. And the other ones where you kind of go, I just poked my nose in. They go, well, my axle was in front and noted. That's all just a bit dumb. Whereas this was just, fuck, this is actually scary. And it happened at one of the fastest points of the circuit. And they have to do something about it. They have to. They can't ignore that. The statement that they put out on their socials and stuff, I don't think is good enough. I think they have to do something seriously to address this. And if it is going to a point where actually these cars get fractionally more than they were expected to get, fractionally more battery, less requirement to superclip for each of the circuits than what they thought they were going to get, and they need to just up categorize all of them, then they have to do that. They can't let that happen again.
And this is the problem where we speak with no technical knowledge on this pod whatsoever, is I don't know how immediately fixable without wholesale changes to cars any solution. There's obviously a solution to the problem. They can change the regs however they would like to change the regs. How quickly can they bring those turnarounds in? Is there a software toggle that says make battery bigger now? Which I'm sure there isn't, because batteries are heavy, so the battery is going to be only as big as the battery.
But didn't we say that there are some tracks that will get a bigger allowance of it than others?
Recharge limits or abilities.
So surely
stuff. There's a bit.
Surely they just need to recategorize the tracks, don't they?
Yes, I'm going to agree with you.
In the simplest of smooth brain kind of theories that I've got going on right now.
Rosie, right, Rosie, can you teach us about battery capacity, please, and recharge? Thank you. Right, Rosie's got that. Rosie's
magic.
To go OT for a second. We very rarely go off topic on this podcast. It's about Formula One, by the way. Horrible crash for Marc Marquez in the MotoGP that Rosie was there to see him do, and. I mean, you want to talk about scary. I don't want to see a bloke going at the best part of 200 miles an hour, not on a bike. Like, he was essentially riding his own wrists and knees through gravel and into a barrier. It's like, nope, no. That's why my dad said you are never getting on a bike, son.
That you're going to get a bruise.
That will hurt.
It's going to bruise. Did you also see the Scott McLaughlin one in the IndyCar?
Yeah, we're in through the fence.
Yeah, it kind of ended up backwards underneath the catch fence. I mean, that wasn't a great look either, was it? Maybe it had nothing to do with the Formula One regs. Maybe it was just pure coincidence and it was a bad day for motorsport.
Yeah, it was motorsport just racing on a worldwide burial ground or something last weekend. It's just the whole sport is cursed now. All of it. It's all done.
We fixed the problem then.
Yeah, I mean, here's a summary of the problem. Lewis Hamilton asked his race engineer, how can I pass Oscar Piastri because I can't catch him on the straights, he's too quick? And Hamilton's engineer said, use 15% less throttle in turn 6 for more power. Now, that's not a great sentence for the pinnacle of motorsport, is what I'll say. We've been kind of defending the regs in general and the idea that the racing can still work and that it's just a different style of racing. But the concept of using 15% less throttle to get more power is not a concept. I don't like that concept. No, thank you.
No. One does not want to subscribe to such a concept.
Unsubscribe.
Was it just Ferrari being a Ferrari person and actually they just got their things the wrong way round? And maybe actually what they meant to say was 15% more throttle through turn 6 would get you closer. But because it's Ferrari, they got it wrong. It's just, again, like you can kind of picture yourself as Lewis Hamilton right now, driving your little Ferrari. You had a nice special helmet, actually. It looked better than the yellow one, I thought, in the top of the Ferrari there. And that comes over the radio. You must be sitting there going, what on earth has this come to?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't catch a guy, so you want me to drive slower? And how do you work out what 15% is? Like, how dexterous are these guys' feet?
Sensitive
to be able to go 12 and a half, 13, 14, 15% less throttle. There we go. Brilliant. Like, come on now.
Yeah. And the other, which is, I assume, related to this, where we're seeing the engine mapping ruin an entire lap because you had to defend or react to something. So if you lift off, 20 meters earlier than you did before, you're then fucked for the next kilometer because the engine thinks you're somewhere else or it, messes with itself. That I have an issue with. That's getting dangerously close to not being Posipod though. But that feels concerning. Hey, Toto shit staring again. Did you see this? Toto, I can't believe he said this genuinely, but direct
Was he wearing
quote,
the balaclava?
He was in his very expensive jacket, I think. And in his expensive jacket, he said, F1 is becoming pure racing. It's very exciting to see where somebody harvests and where somebody deploys. It's not as easy as it was before. Can't argue with the last line.
No.
I would almost say I can't argue with the second line. It is interesting to see where that thing happens, the harvesting and deploying, and I would argue that's part of the engineering challenge, and we keep going back to that. It is a car building competition. I don't know if I can agree with you, Toto, that it's becoming pure racing. I'd argue it is objectively the opposite.
Yeah. I know some of us in 2026 are a bit sensitive about things.
Yes. Utter work nonsense.
And it feels like a long time ago that all of a sudden Formula One decided that miles per gallon was something that they were kind of interested in. For a sport that spends billions of dollars on custard cream biscuits in Milton Keynes, I would have thought the last thing they'd have been worried about, although maybe now in today's climate, an extra tank of fuel here and there wouldn't have exactly broken the bank for some of these Formula One teams. Why can't we just bring refueling back into Formula One? Yeah, it's a bit dangerous. Some of them caught fire, but then you can just go absolutely flat out for the entirety of it, pull into the petrol station, fill yourself up, change your tires, get back out there and do exactly the same thing again and just have the greatest time ever, rather than going, well, it is interesting to find out where people lift and coast and recharge and deploy. And you're right, it is, but I don't... as you say, I'm dangerously slipping off the Posipod right now. But,
yes. We're trying very hard to hang on to being the Posipod. We're trying
clinging
very
on
hard
right now
to hang on. We are trying aggressively hard. Here's some Posipod stuff. Jack Black waved the flag quite well.
Yeah.
He put some effort into it.
He did. Didn't he want to know where that cameraman was as well?
Well, rightly so. It's Jack Black.
Have you got me? You got me? Yeah. What? Wave the flag now? Yeah. Yeah. But have you got the flag? Yeah. Got the flag. Right. Okay. Am I still in frame? Yeah. Yeah. Still in? Yeah.
I'm not having any of this Jack Black slander, please. I feel like this is slander.
Main character
He's
character
literally
syndrome.
The main character. It's Jack Black.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he is too fat to fit in a Formula One car. He is not the main character at that particular event. I think he might be the main character in some form of Lego movie or some bollocks that they might have been filming, which is why all of those wombles were there. But no. Get out there, wave your flag about, get on with your life.
Well, no, because first of all, I think he was waiting to be told, yes, you can wave the flag now, not am I on camera. So I'm not having that slander. And I will remove you from the podcast in a minute, sir, if you're going to keep slandering Jack Black. He was waiting to be told you can wave the flag now. And then I think he waved the flag not enough and had to be told, no, you need to keep waving it for the whole lap because they haven't all finished. And then he started waving the flag again. But we've seen shit flag waving before, right? Need I remind you of Tim Apple's flag waving, right? Don't you go criticizing Jack Black on his waving when we've had Tim Apple waving before. I don't want more Tim Apple waving.
Do you think, and I think this is the case, and I think when you get up certain tiers of social economic status, that you suddenly think that your time becomes more valuable than what maybe it is. Do you think that when, and I'm not picking on Jack Black here, so please don't. It
sounds an awful lot like you're picking on Jack Black.
No, I'm not. But do you think that when they go out there and they kind of go, hey, done, do they think if they got told that they had to wave the flag for the entire 22 cars before they got to the point where they had the flag in their hand and it was too late to actually back out, how many of them would do it? Or how many of them would go, no, I literally, my agent has sorted this out. You're paying me £150,000 for 4 rotations of my wrist, and that is all I can give you because I've got to go off and do something else.
But that's...
However...
Yeah.
I'm just just thinking, or do they kind of go, look, you have actually got to go for the whole thing, because it wasn't just Jack. There are others in history that have kind of lost a bit of enthusiasm after the main guys crossed the line.
But this is why I don't understand why you're coming for Jack Black. I mean, of all the...
No, I'm not. I'm coming for celebrities in general.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Of all the shit celebrity appearances we get in F1, where they look like they could not want to be there less, we actually get a bloke that looks excited to be there and puts a bit of energy into it and a bit of excitement and weighs it with some vigor, and you're shitting on him for it.
I just don't know why it has to be a celebrity.
Because then they sell the flag from our official to-be partners. Like, it's that flag.
To do what with it?
Did you not know about the flag? The celebrity waved flag, you buy a square of the checkered flag that has your name printed on it, and then they send you that bit of the flag afterwards. So you can own part of an F1 checkered flag that was waved by Jack Black.
Right.
Yeah.
And who signs it?
Jack Black. It's got your name on it.
So Jack Black signed every one of the...
Oh, I don't know that bit, but it's got your name on...
128 squares.
It's got your name on the flag that was waved.
And you get the little square of material. Do you get to pick the colour? Do you get to pick whether you want to be on the black or a white square?
This is a question for someone we know, but that is not us. That's an important thing. But I just think it was so nice to see a celebrity at F1 that actually look like they want... It's like when you see Terry Crews on the grid. That man actually wants to be there and is excited about...
No, he just likes being on camera.
You are not being very posy pod today, Daniel. You're a tired boy, and I don't like this grumpiness from you.
It's cynical, I think.
You're throwing your energy... Throw that energy at the people that won't talk to Martin on the grid. That's my hit list.
Oh, no, they're
a good person.
They're worse than Nazis.
Yeah. So we must be pleased with the other ones that actually go, oh my God, Martin, hi, and they talk to Martin.
Exactly. Yeah, fine. Okay, I'll pay that. I'll pay that. With the positivity pod and the way that we all subscribe to cancel culture now, I feel that there should be a global movement that if you decide that you don't want to speak to one of the world's treasures, Martin Brundle, on the grid walk, I feel like the mob should just cancel you.
Yeah, but you're trying to cancel them for being too energetic.
No, I'm not trying to cancel them. I'm not trying to get rid of them. But I'm just saying, someone
similar.
Someone like who was it? Was it the Stallion or something?
Yes.
To be fair, since that particular Grand Prix, I've heard literally nothing from that person anyway. So they may well have been cancelled as far as I'm concerned. But it just feels like the mob should take them down. Don't speak to Martin. Your career's over.
Yep. No, I'm on board with it. Wave the flag too vigorously. Your career's over. Dan's coming for you. As well. Dan's just coming for everyone. We've got some team radio, which is actually team radio that came in pre-Grand Prix, but it's paint chat. So we need to have a little buzz on the team radio. It's from Canada. It's our favourite Canadians. It's Ryan and Jamie.
Oh, Canada.
Their official theme song.
That's all I've got.
Ryan and Jamie have said, when it comes to liveries, and this is not because we've seen them on track now, and quite often the liveries on track versus the liveries off track can be quite quite different. So this was pre them seeing it on track, but all their opinions still stand. VCarb nailed it. It's really, really ridiculously good looking. Definitely better than the standard livery. I think we're both fully agreed on that. That's high on the bank board. Haas, the only Japanese team on the grid, has done it again. Let's be real, screw up a Godzilla livery, and you deserve to be relegated to F2. It's not that hard to make Godzilla look good. Can we talk about how Haas isn't even trying to hide the fact that they're a Japanese team now? Gene ain't getting any younger. I think it's a very valid question.
Do you mean Toyota?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's not... look, again, we spoke about it pre-season. It's not far away, is it, before that... And it's going to be one of those things that you're not even going to notice. And then you're going to see it and someone's... It's been like that for 3 weeks. And actually just the logo changes. And all of a sudden it's a bit of a Trojan horse type situation, isn't it? Is what essentially is going on. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. To be fair, Haas did a very cool Japanese livery last year, didn't they? With their cherry blossoms, which was beautiful. Yeah. This one obviously slightly more aggressive than that. So they kind of really play in on that Japanese tie anyway. But it isn't going to be long, is it? Until we've got Toyota on the Formula One grid, which is fine. I'm okay with that. That's good. I'm okay with it. I'd rather have Toyota where I can go and buy myself a Yaris than go and buy myself a CNC machine that I have absolutely no use for whatsoever.
Expensive though. As we learn.
They are expensive.
As we learn.
Unless we get this podcast monetized, I won't be purchasing either in any time soon. So, yeah, good for them. I tell you, the other thing as well that popped up in relation to the paint chat is obviously the V-carb. And we did get confirmation from our official Bubbly Energy partner that actually no pigeons had been unalived in the creation of the livery of the V-carb. So that's good to know and tidy up, isn't
all
it?
paint, 100% paint. Very good to see. Good to see.
Yeah, no pigeon guts involved.
I didn't really see the wolf, though. I'll be honest with you. I forgot that Mercedes had the Jazzy livery because even though I saw a lot of them on screen for a lot of the time, didn't really see the wolf. I don't think it makes the wolf any less cool, but I only really remembered they had it when I saw Kimi Antonelli get out of the car in the disgusting flour-covered, he's been baking a loaf of bread overalls. Did you see the shoes, by the way, the little booties with the wolf face on them as well? Because they were horrific.
Yeah, it didn't get any better, did it?
No, it didn't.
It didn't get any better. No, I didn't see the wolf either, really. I was actually, genuinely, I was trying to spot it as well. And it wasn't massively obvious.
I'm still happy with the Jazzy front wing, though. Like, just because I couldn't really see it the right. I don't mind seeing it beforehand and knowing it's there and then not really seeing it. I think that's still nice. So that's good.
Yep.
Couple of other little AOBs. Williams did 5 consecutive pit stops with Alex Albon during that Grand Prix, just turned it into a FP4 session, which not a great look for old Williams and the team, but I guess they're trying, like rather that than just poodle around, just get various bits of practice.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. They've got to get themselves through this recovery catch-up window break thing, haven't they, and figure themselves out from there. But I mean, so far we are a long way away from where James Vowles said we would be with this Williams team in 2026, which I think is upsetting a few, which probably leads quite nicely into your next point on the agenda.
Yeah, is the tide turning on James Vowles? Because I feel like old mate AEIOU is starting to. I think he was universally loved before, and people really liked the way that he spoke. And now a lot of people are calling him sort of like a walking LinkedIn because he's now in damage control mode rather than positivity mode. I feel like he's coming under a lot of heat all of a sudden, which I will say, I feel like people are forgetting that Williams finished P5 in the Constructors last year. Let's not overlook the fact that they had their best year for a decade. People have got very short memories. I know he told us that we were all in on this year, and it's not going great, but we are also 3 races in. But that doesn't take away the achievements of last year that were under Jimmy Vowles. So I feel like he's got a lot more rope than people are willing to give him at the minute.
Yeah. But he did also tell us the fact that
did.
nothing else mattered up until this year. So he has kind of dug his own. He's either dug his own grave or he's built his own podium, depending on how this season kind of ends up, is exactly where he's going to be, isn't it? At the minute, as you say, there is a lot of Grand Prix racing left to go. There is so many points left available. But as it stands, they've got 2 points between their two drivers. Both of them are Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
And they are 9th in the Constructors' Championship, I believe, behind Audi.
Yes.
So
level with points. Level on points with Audi, but behind them.
If they were 7th, 8th, 9th, their drivers, you'd go, yeah, do you know what? Not bad. Not bad opening salvo. Yeah, do you know what, Williams, they have been figuring themselves out. What we've seen so far from them on track is you would just assume the fact that James Bowser's lied to you for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think the concern for me as much as anything is Alex Albon is usually a very level-headed kind of chap, I assume. I've never met him.
Yes.
But he doesn't run overly hot generally on the radio or with his press or anything like that. Like he's been pretty level. Yep. He doesn't seem like he's in a great place right now, and he's being very openly, very critical on the radio, publicly. One thing to in debriefs or whatever sort of be a bit aggy, but if he's doing it on the radio, that feels very out of character for Alex Albon. I think Carlos is maybe managing it slightly better, and that's possibly an experience thing and just a little bit of an age thing or whatever. I know Alex Albon's not exactly 17, but it just feels like, well, I've not seen that from them before. Even when they were shit before, Albon was sort of looking ahead and being positive and okay, we tried team and rah. It just seems he's whether or not that's an expectations thing possibly as well. Did they get their hopes up and then they've been dashed down a little bit? But it's not lovely to see. It's not. Maybe it's because they've lost Jenson. Jenson's gone to Aston Martin, hasn't he, as an ambassador? Maybe it's the Jenson curse. But you like Jenson in the booth. You were pleased with Jenson as a broadcaster.
I really think he's great. I know we've had a bit of a hot seat, haven't we, alongside Crofty? And Crofty's not always been at all of them over the last couple of seasons either. But that kind of the colour commentator, or however you want to describe them, broadcaster, I'd say he's as good, if not the best, out of those that aren't Martin Brundle. I think he's very well informed. I think he's very passionate and enthusiastic. I think he's very funny. I think he's very quick-witted. I think he speaks nicely. He's very articulate. And
he's fit.
If that's what you like.
Easy on the eye.
If that's what you're after. That's what you're after. He's got no Danica Patrick this year, so he should be a lot happier.
Wonderful news for all involved in the sport.
Precisely. But yeah, if and when Martin decides that it's time to kind of hang the boots up, because he's been doing this for a hell of a long time now, surely they just have to turn up to Jenson Button with a checkbook and just say, how much do you want, pal?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to listen to Anthony Davidson.
I also think
or Nico Rosberg.
If Sky don't, F1 TV will. Like I think he's so natural at it, and he is around so much. He's going to get a broadcasting contract with someone, So I know F1 TV already have sort of Palmer and Coulthard that do a lot, but you lose Coulthard to a lot of FE weekends as well, so he's not sort of always there. But someone's going to sign him up, and rightly so. I think he is. He's marvelous. Does a marvelous job.
He's good listening. He's good listening. Good listening. Right, should we wrap up super picking?
Yes, have you got some numbers for me? Well, no, you don't have any numbers. You explicitly have no number for me.
No, none. No, you're unmoved on 19 points because Oliver Behrman, I don't know whether anybody noticed or listened through the podcast, but he didn't finish. So that's 2 nil point races for you out of 3 Grand Prix, with Hülkenberg, Hajar and Behrman out of the opening 3, which is...
The thing is, it wasn't even going well from the start for Oliver.
No,
he was out in Q bastard prick 1. Like,
you weren't on for a lot, were you?
I'm watching quali and I'm like, Oliver, what are we doing? Like, why are you're getting done by Ocon? And no one's been done by Ocon for a little bit. Like, why are you? And then it just, it's not a good. It's not. We're not off to a great super picking start for me for the year.
You've got some catching up to do, would be fair to say. In second place, we do have our official thinking partner of Rosie Collins, with a current total of 52.5 points, who had Carlos Sainz across the course of the weekend and did pick up 8 points for his finishing position. So good, not a terrible return for the Williams at the moment.
You're going to have to use a Williams at some point, aren't you? So
Precisely. Don't mind it. Dan 2, the official Bubbly Energy partner, picked Franco Colliapinto. He picked up 7 points for his finishing position, which again, I don't think is a terrible return, to be honest with you. He currently sat on 60 points. And yours truly, currently top of our 4-team principal World Super Picking Championship with 66.5 points because Liam Lawson got 14 points in Japan.
That's a good Liam return. It's a good Liam return.
It could have been more. It could have been a couple more, but I'm not going to be too greedy. I'm happy with 14 points.
Yeah. No, it's good. I need to go away during the catch-up break and do some catching up myself.
You need to do some catching up.
I need to do some catch-up window planning.
What you need to do, you need to look at these new regs, because you did okay last year. You still lost, but you did okay last year. Now you've had this new regs turned up. And to use your analogy, you've tried to make a lovely cheesecake out of it, and you've turned up with a block of cheddar.
Which cheddar is nice.
You've just missed the cake.
Not for a cheesecake. I feel a little bit Adrian Newey-esque at the minute. I've got a lot of raw skill and talent. Look at me. You know, I'm a big signing for someone, but I'm shitting the bed at the minute. Is the concern.
Not good.
No, not
good.
Right.
Oh, well.
Dan, before I do us this week, I'm going to do you first. Where can they find you doing various things on the internet?
Yeah, Dan Jad's on the internet. It's a great place to look. If you like very overpaid people playing a version of Rounders, then I can talk about stuff like that. So go and check it out because it's all right. It's good stuff. It's good eating. How about you? What are you up to?
Twitch.tv/Hey Look It's Alex. You can come watch me play games on there, doing various shenanigans. You can also get in touch with us at teamradio@lapdownpod.com. You can send thoughts and questions and voice notes or anything like that. We have 5 weeks off now with no racing, right? We have got a calendar to fill. So if you have got a low-stakes conspiracy about Formula One, teamradio@lapdownpod.com.
We'll take anything at this stage.
If you have got things that you would like us to rank, what we didn't actually do last year is any bang and unbanged rankings of Grand Prix. So as requested by the official Bubbly Energy partner, we might actually reminisce about the good times when they could complete a lap at full throttle and have a look back to better days, perhaps of our top 3 and bottom 3 bang and unbanged from last year and how they compare to this year. But anything else you want to send our way, you can. teamradio@lapdownpod.com. I'm going to make Dan probably watch some Formula E at some point through this next little break as well. So if you've done any FE watching, I would actually be genuinely curious to know the opinions of... Because I think if we've got someone getting to this stage of our podcast, first of all, we love you. Second of all, you must really like Formula One, which is fair. We really like Formula One. I would like to know if you really like Formula E too, because I don't feel like there's actually that much crossover between them, is my current vibe. So I would like to know that. So if anyone listening does watch a lot of Formula E, write in. And also, write in and try and convince me and Dan that Formula E is good. Because I tried, and I watched a couple, and I wasn't convinced. So try and convince me. I was going to say, you word this about Formula E as if I'm the absolute anti-electric Formula racing cars here. It's hardly like you are singing their praises from the hilltops. You're anti, I am apathetic.
Right. Okay. Yeah, fine.
Because I did watch the first 3 races of the year, and I just need convincing as to why what I watched was good. So Team Radio at LapdownPod if someone would like to do that. LapdownPod on all your other socials. Schedule's going to go weird for the next 5 weeks, team. Who knows when we'll be here? Ambush podcasts. Maybe they'll drop here. Maybe they'll drop there. There's just simply no way of knowing. But we look forward to it anyway. But thank you for listening. Leave us a review. Do all those lovely things. Toodaloo, Dan.
Magical. Bye.